God, Kim. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah.
Car wrecks, statistics, and stuff like that.
Oh.
I don't like do.
Okay.
I'd like to call the meeting back to order at 9:04 with item 3B, consent agenda. The consent agenda is a mechanism that the board uses to approve a number of routine items together with a single vote. These items are routine in nature, and the board has had ample information in advance about these items. Tonight, our consent agenda item is 3B, 1, election of personnel action. 3B2, review TASB Update 90 legal policies and add, revise, or delete local policies. 3B3, consider revision of board policy DFF local, first reading. 3B4, review proposed changes for policy EHBB local as recommended by TASB Policy Service and District Administrative Staff, first reading. 3B5, consider out-of-state travel request for Creekview Mock Trial Law Academy to travel to New York City October 20th through 24th, 2011 to attend the Empire Mock Trial International Invitational. 3B6, consider out-of-state travel request for Creekview High School Department of Dance Moving Ground Dance Company to travel to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, March 7th through 11th, 2012 to attend the 11th National High School Dance Festival. 3B7, consider financial reports for May and June 2011. 3B8, consider quarterly investment report for the quarter ending May 31st, 2011. 3B9, consider donation of gifts to Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD. 3B10, consider RFP number 11-05053-0 grounds-lawn chemicals. 3B11, consider RFP number 11-06-081-2 for printing services. 3B12, consider RFP number 11-05-101-3 for concrete and asphalt. 3B13, consider RFP number 11-05-181-2 for trash can liners. 3B14, consider RFP number 11-06-243-1 for sheet music. 3B15, consider RFP number 11-06-241-1 for musical instruments and supplies. 3B16, consider RFP number 11-06-242-1, musical instrument repairs. 3B17, consider RFP number 11-07-121-3, armored car services. 3B18, consider RFP number 11-06-231-3, property and casualty insurance. 3B19, consider approval of purchase of Plato learning software. 3B20, consider purchase of standardized testing materials. 3B21, consider approval of purchase of 2011-12 online resources. 3B22, consider approval of purchase of student nutrition serving area renovations. 3B23, consider acceptance of purchasing report for the period June 2nd to August 4th, 2011. 3B24, consider authorizing administration to enter into an interlocal agreement with Dallas County Schools. 3B25, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 09-08-071-2 for painting services. 3B26, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 10-07-131-2 for carpentry supply and equipment. 3B27, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 10-06-241-2 for student nutrition ice cream. 3B28, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 10-06-231-2 for kitchen vent-a-hood service. 3B29, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 10-05-281-2 for kitchen equipment maintenance. 3B30, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 10-05-181-2 for dish machine and cleaning supplies. 3B31, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 10-05-271-1 for athletic equipment and supplies. 3B32, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 08-05-191-3 for grocery and catered foods. 3B33, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 10-05-141-2 for printer cartridges. 3B34, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 10-06-151-2 for clinic and trainer supplies. 3B35, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 10-06-041-1 for language arts materials. 3B36, consider exercising the extension option of RFP number 08-05-131-3 for workers' compensation third-party administration, specific and aggregate stop-loss insurance and loss control. 3B37, consider declaring vehicles 133, 142, and 398 surplus and authorizing them for disposal. 3B38, consider declaring furniture, audio-visual equipment, and technology equipment surplus and authorizing them for disposal. 3B39, consider approval of minutes of Board of Trustees work study meeting held June 2nd, 2011. 3B40, consider approval of minutes of Board of Trustees regular meeting held on June 2nd, 2011. 3B41, consider approval of minutes of Board of Trustees work study session meeting held on June 23rd, 2011. Board members, does anyone wish to pull any items from the consent agenda for further discussion? Mr. Shore?
Madam President, I'd like to pull B2.
Thank you. Are there any others? Ms. Watton?
Yes, I would like to pull B20.
Are there any others, or do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Ms. Klein, I would move that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Mr. Shore?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed? That is unanimous. Mr. Shore, item B2.
With respect to reviewing TASB Update 90, first thing I'd like to state that if anybody has had trouble sleeping, read TASB Update 90. You will not have any problem after that. Having said that, there are 3 provisions of that I think we need to examine. They deal with board training and orientation. They deal with access to student information and access to public information. What I want to make certain that this board does is that we entertain those 3 areas before we approve, if we approve TASB Update 90.
Is there any discussion on that?
Ms. Klein, would it be appropriate for us to have a subcommittee that would take a look at this particular policy and come back and make some recommendations to the board?
I'm thinking it would be an excellent idea to have Mr. Shore chair a subcommittee of 3 that could meet officially and have some staff support. And I am soliciting volunteers for that committee.
I'll volunteer.
Mr. Shore and Ms. Webb have volunteered. I think we need one from this end of the room. Is there a volunteer willing to spend one evening? Frank, Mr. Shore, Mr. Fleming said he would.
We will be efficient.
Mr. Shore promises an efficient meeting style. I appreciate the volunteers on that.
Ms. Fine, so Ms. Shore, any background and any legwork materials you need for that, we'll be glad to do for you. So we'll take care of that for you.
No does.
It was short and efficient, was it not?
That's correct.
And I'll point out, that was just the first reading of TASB Update 90, and our second reading will be in September, Dr. Burns?
Right now, we have it scheduled for the 25th, since we were going to have a small consent agenda on that as well, but we could do it on the 1st.
I think it would be helpful to have it on the 1st so that the committee could have a chance to
We'll just make a
look
note.
at this and come back to the board with some recommendations.
Yeah.
So we won't take it, we do need to go ahead and take action on B2 since it's just a reading.
I think since you're just looking at it as a first reading, the September when we put it on, if you choose to adopt it or exclude it, then you can at that time.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
That's it.
So we're ready for B20? Ms. Watton?
Yes, this deals with the NNAT standardized test that is administered annually to kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade levels. I understand that there is a state mandate that requires that some type of testing be done in order to identify our gifted children. However, this test costs us close to $84,000, and having given this test to kindergartners, I'm questioning, and I would like Mrs. Charleboy to address it, because we give two tests. We give the KOI, which is a series of activities that the children do, and it's pretty well determined by the teacher as to the qualifications for the child. And then we also give this NNAT standardized test, which I understand is quite streamlined now, and it's done on computer. But I'm questioning the purchase of the expense of $84,000 for a test. And then both of them also require teaching time out of the classroom. So I would just like to have Mrs. Charleboy talk to us a little bit about the testing and
Is she
the need
prepared
for
to?
it. Yes, I already warned her. Or I asked her if she would do it.
Good evening. Yes, the NNAT, the Naglieri, we have provided this for about 8 years, I believe. The state mandates that every kindergarten student is screened for a gifted program. And we have found over the years that this is the best tool. It's an assessment. It's an assessment of ability. It's nonverbal. It's non-biased. It culls that layer of students that we can then take a look at more closely for our gifted services. It's a good tool. It's not, we've determined along with Dr. Hastings that it is not a standalone. It's the first step in the process to identify our gifted students. Along with that, we partner the KOI, which is the King-Gore Observation Inventory, and that's a good description of it. It is just an inventory. But those two partners partnered together has raised our process greatly to look at all students, whether they are, upper socioeconomic, low SES, all backgrounds and experiences. It's not a perfect situation, but I feel confident in the process, and it's a strong beginning step. What else can I share with you?
You think it's really important for kindergarten and first grade level?
I feel it's very important.
Very valuable.
And we can talk more in depth and maybe get perspectives from a variety of teachers. The NNAT and Dr. Hastings would be better suited to talk about the logistics actually of the administration of it. It's quick and streamlined online for the kids, especially kindergarten. If we don't do the NNAT for our kindergartners, we have to do something. And the KOI, I do not feel, there are quite a few districts in the state that do provide the KOI alone solely, and I would not stand behind that process at all. So if we don't administer the NNAT, we have to find another tool.
Why do we do the KOI then?
Pardon me? Why?
It also takes teaching time. I'm just concerned about the amount of time it takes out of the teaching time. And we do so much testing all across the board, and this is not the only test we give in kindergarten.
Right.
There's so many other screening,
right.
requirements.
Well, like you said, the NNAT is an assessment / like a test. The KOI are activities. And our master teachers can utilize those KOI activities multiple ways. It's an excellent resource. And it's peppered through, I believe, about 8 weeks in the fall. Again, it just kind of culls out the ability that could be masked through other behaviors. For that child who is silent and quiet and not very, verbal, it shows the ability of creativity and variety of other. Yes, Mr. Shore?
I don't want to cut you off.
That's okay.
If we approve this purchase, is it for this year? It's for how long? For the current.
For 2011-12.
Not for 12-13.
It's a one-year
No.
purchase.
Yeah, it's a year by a year.
Okay. And so perhaps if this is not something that's as efficacious as we want it to be, we can take it up at the next board meeting in part 2.
Yeah, because the next budget's around the corner.
What, did I hear you say that this is an easy test to administer?
Yes.
Perhaps a thing to do this coming school year might be, you clearly had a bad experience. Perhaps it might be appropriate to observe it this year and see how it's changed, because...
Well, the teachers that I've talked to, that were my former partners, they say it's no big deal. It's no big deal. But
No big deal
my
as in
experience,
the administration?
well, yeah, but they've done it for so long that it's no big deal to them anymore. But it's like anything else. Once you get into the niche of doing it, it's that I'm looking at $84,000, and I'm looking at the fact that it's still a test, and it still takes teaching time. And those are my biggest concerns about any kind of testing. And I know that it's not the only test that we give in kindergarten or first grade or the rest of them. I can even see more value at second through fourth, because I think that
It's just K-1-2. It's just administered in kinder, first, and second.
That's her problem.
kindergarten, first, second,
Yeah, I know. That's
But,
what she's-
but it's
third, and fourth.
illegal.
It says K through fourth.
On the online, does it go to fourth?
Right,
No.
right here on the agenda item,
On
it
our-
says 1 through
on our
K.
It's just second.
Says it can be used through K through.
Yeah, correct.
Have you guys measured that in quantitative data? As in the past?
Dr. Hastings?
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand the question.
Well, have you guys measured the test and quantitative data as far as, obviously it must be some type of, it must have pretty good results, I would take it, since you guys, in the past.
We look at the data every year, and again, its primary use has been as a screening tool, but it also is used as a guide for the teachers to look at students who may be facing some challenges to their learning processes. And so while it's not a part of an identification for other types of groupings besides the potential for GT, it is also a piece of evidence that is sometimes used in identifying students for other specialized programs. And so we do look at the data for a broad variety of issues. I would like to address for a second the dollar issue. We had a committee a couple of years ago that looked at our entire state national testing program, and we went to this configuration for Nagliari and dropped at other grade levels where we had administered the Otis Lennon for many years. And part of the rationale is we're doing this for less money than what we used to test for. So this $84,000 may sound like a large dollar amount, but it's a significant reduction from what we used to expend for this type of identification.
Thank you.
And the bottom line is, we are legally mandated to test.
Yes,
To do some kind of screening.
Some
yes.
assessment.
And they need to be placed on our PEMS by March 1st. So it's a frantic pace, but my team.
Short window.
Yeah.
So is there any action we'd like to take on B20?
Ms. Klein, I would recommend that we approve the district's recommendation on item 3B20.
I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, that's 6-1.
Got that?
So at this time, we are ready to move to item 3C, report on 2001 appraisal rolls and certification of the estimated debt collection rate.
Ms. Klein, Mr. Hyatt, are you ready to?
Yes, sir. Dr. Burns, Ms. Klein. This begins the procedural steps to completion of our budget and the actual technical requirements for the budget. We take these steps first with the tax rolls and the tax rates, and then we'll follow up on the 25th of this month with the actual consideration of the adoption of our complete budget. This time I'll turn it over to Ms. Halsey to introduce the item.
Thank you. Under Section 26.04A and B of the Texas Property Tax Code, the registered Texas assessor collector for the district is to submit the 2011 certified appraisal rolls. And under Section 3307, 33.08 of the Property Tax Code, the registered tax assessor collector for the district is required to estimate a debt collection rate for the tax year of 2011. Our tax assessor collector is Ms. Anna Brady, and she will read this report to you now.
The net taxable value for this year, which includes the rolls of Dallas and Denton combined, is $13,889,472,257. This is a 1.72% reduction from the prior year. And this year we have an estimated debt collection rate of 100%.
Sounds good.
Board members, are there any questions?
No?
This is just a report. It's just statutorily required. It requires no action from the board. Obviously, the observation of note is the decline in the tax valuation. I believe it was 1.7, did you say, Anna? Not as dramatic as some of our neighbors, so I guess we should be happy about that. We'll have a slight negative impact on our debt service tax rate. Ms. Palsy will explain that a lot more in detail when we do our budget conversation. But if there are no other questions, we've fulfilled our statutory requirement on that item just by presenting the report. Ms. Halsey?
She needs to go to the next
So
item.
3D, is that where you're, consider all matters related to the certification of the 2011 appraisal rolls.
Thank you. In this one, we have a couple of resolutions. With your permission, I'll read the first one.
Yes, please.
Whereas in accordance with Section 26.04A and B of the Texas Property Tax Code, the tax assessor has submitted to the Board of Trustees the Dallas Central Appraisal District and the Denton Central Appraisal District's 2011 certified appraisal rolls showing the total appraised, assessed, and taxable value of all property of the school districts, as well as the total taxable value of new property in the district. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch Independent School District that the district does hereby approve from its assessor on this date the said appraisal roll for the district showing the following amounts. Total appraised and assessed value $15,874,667,838. Less ag deferral and exemptions of $2,159,755,375. Less capped value loss of $3,891,688. That leaves a net taxable certified roll of $13,701,020,775. Estimated taxable value under protest is $188,451,482. Net taxable with estimated protested taxable value of what Ms. Brady said, of $13,889,745,000. $472,257. The total taxable value of new construction included in total appraised and assessed value is $99,851,996. No property annexed since the preceding year. Passed and adopted this 4th day of August 2011. There's another resolution. Do you want to take them separately? You want me to read the second one?
Go ahead and read the second one, please, Ms. Halsey.
Okay, here we go. The second resolution, be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch Independent School District that pursuant to the Texas Property Tax Code, Section 26.04b, the district does hereby accept from its assessor her certified estimate of the anticipated collection rate for the school district in the current year, 2011, in the amount of 100%. The district further accepts the assessor's certification that there were no excess debt taxes collected in excess of the anticipated amount for the preceding year, 2010, passed and adopted this 4th day of August 2011.
Are there any questions or discussion? Is there a motion? James?
I move that we adopt the two resolutions as read.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Chaffin has seconded that motion. All those in favor? That is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
The next item is 3E, consider approval of board meetings and board work study sessions for 2011-12. Dr. Burns?
Yes, Ms. Klein, members of the board, you have before you in your packet there the dates that the administration has put together regarding your board meeting, regular board meetings for next year, as well as the work studies that you identified in June. And in addition, we've gone ahead and identified a Team of 8 date for you for your calendar, if everybody can look at that to see if that would work. It seems like you didn't have enough to do in October, so we added another one there in that one for you. But we can entertain any questions you might have regarding the proposed calendar and work studies. Would note for the audience that it is consistent with board policy that the board meetings will be held the first Thursday of every month, with the exception of January. In this case, which due to the winter break, it will be the second Thursday in January.
The date identified for the Team of 8 training is October 20th. So if you would check your calendars and email Dr. Burns if you do have any conflicts with that.
That is obviously flexible. We just wanted to get all the dates on everyone's calendar.
We thought,
that is a 4-hour though, so
yeah, instead of a whole Saturday, you were wanting to do this instead. Yeah.
So, but it would be a full 4-hour Thursday evening.
Point of clarification, I believe we are mandated that everyone participate.
Yes.
Correct. For us to get credit for Team of 8, we all 8 have to be there.
And what Dr. Burns is emphasizing is we may need to go 6 to 10 or 5 to 9 or something along those lines to get the full 4 hours.
Yeah.
When does it have to be done by?
December 1, I believe. Or no, I think we've done it December, end of December.
By the last meeting end of December.
Yeah, end of December. If you'll recall, we were doing the work study topic discussion back in June. I think Ms. Watton brought up a good point about you just come from summer leadership, and we really didn't have any way to kind of dialogue regarding the sessions you might go to. We thought October might be a good time because you'll have come back from TASB in September, and we can incorporate maybe some discussion time with what you learned in that Team of 8 in October while it's fresh on your mind. So that's kind of the rationale behind an October date. And we didn't have another meeting in October, so.
I understand for Mr. Shore's benefit, it should be late in the evening. Is that correct?
A late start?
If we start at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll be right on time.
But I won't.
So is there any...
We can start 4:30. Well,
That sounds much better, thank you.
Is there anybody that would like to make a motion?
Ms. Klein, I would like to recommend that we accept the meeting presentations for board work study session, meetings and sessions as defined in the administration's recommendations.
Second by Mr. Good.
I second it.
All those in favor? All those opposed? That's unanimous. And I would ask Ms. Scrivener to help us get that on our calendars.
Quickly.
3F is designation of TASB conference voting delegate and alternate. This is one thing that the board likes to do each year. Our packet includes a list of who has been our delegate the last few years and our alternate. And we're looking for volunteers for this. Mr. Shore?
Well, she's done such a great job, I don't think that we should disrupt the streak that she has. So unless someone wants to discuss this, I would nominate Lynn Chaffin for that, and Richard for the alternate.
I second.
All those in favor?
Well, I thought Ms. Chaffin was going to say something, but all the...
Ms. Webb was about to offer that she would be the delegate this year, but that's absolutely fine. We'll
She did last year, didn't she?
Pardon?
She was associate
She'll
last
be
year.
the delegate? The primary?
No, I thought you'll be the primary, I'm the secondary.
All right.
Senior.
I'll re-urge my motion.
Okay. All those in favor? All, that is unanimous.
You had a second on that?
Yeah, Ms. Watton second, I believe.
Yeah, she seconded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good, we're done.
Ms. Chaffin and Mr. Klein.
At this time, item 4 is comments from board members, and 4A is comments regarding posted agenda items. Are there any comments from the board?
No.
Item 5 is for closed meeting. Dr. Burns, do we have any items for closed session tonight?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Okay, by my determination, we have reached the end of our agenda, and we are adjourned at 9:36.
Hot dog. Good job, guys.